Yu-Gi-Oh! Can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, with many different elements to the game, from the competitive nature of the higher tournaments to the casual gameplay that you could experience at your local store, or even just collecting the cards if you're more of a collector than a player, and with many different formats from Edison to GOAT to the advanced format. Everyone can play this game differently, but this is our journey from going from a casual collector into a much more competitive player. So please follow along and watch us go from casual to competitive, all the way to hopefully topping our first ever regionals. Okay, so it's Sunday. I'm already down at Geek Retreat because I forgot to film this part at home again, but not the end of the world. And as you can see, finally had a haircut, so I'm feeling a lot better. I had a miniature coaching session with Adam and Matt on Friday night, so hopefully I can take what they've tried to drill into me a little bit better today, and hopefully we will see some improvement. Looking at the numbers of the store, it looks like it's going to be a 4-round day so far. So the aim today is to try and go 3-1 or minimal 2-2, but at least putting into practice what I've been taught. And even though it's the same deck, it is a different build. For now, we've taken Adam's advice, we've dropped the Azamina stuff, we've upped the number to a 44 card build, and this is more Chimera Fiendsmith centric, but still with only one engraver because I only have one. I do need to try and get a second at some point to try and make those numbers a little bit more favourable, but for now let's see what we can do with it, and I will catch you guys after round one. What's up guys, it's now Monday and yesterday was the event. We had locals. I'm going to try this format a little bit differently because last week's video seemed to do better than the others, and if you look at it, it's half the time because I wasn't putting a game of every round in. So I'm just going to upload one game this week and just give you a breakdown and then kind of see how that does, and yeah, we'll go from there. Work in progress. So round one, we got paired against Ashley, which yeah, kind of sucks for us because we struggle against Melodious so much, and I don't know if it's the matchup or if it's just me. I don't know. I think it's just me, in all honesty. I struggle against Melodious. I do not know why. But yeah, it's something I need to learn, because there is Melodious engines in other decks, as well as just obviously pure Melodious, which it seems to do pretty well. We lost that round 2-1. Ashley won the dice roll, set up a board game one. I was able to play a little bit, but just not enough to break through and do a substantial amount. Game two rolls round and it's the same story as game one, just in reverse. I set up a board through draw as well. So I was quite proud of that, that I was able to play through draw and imperm and still set up a board. Not an amazing board as you can imagine, but well enough. And then with Book of Eclipse to flip Ashley's face down at a certain point was enough to kind of choke Ashley's game plan out and then re-establish the missing board presence on turn 3 and take the game from there. And then game 3, Ashley goes first. I opened no interruptions. I don't even think I opened a single green spell card either. I think I'm looking at 5 monsters in my hand, none of which being hand traps. And Ashley just goes full combo, sets up this amazing board where they have one monster which stops their Melodious monsters being targeted and destroyed by battle. They have another monster that stops their Melodious monsters being destroyed by card effects. And they have a fusion monster which allows them to banish as many Melodious monsters and bounce face-up cards. And it's just like, cool. And then 2 other bodies, which one banish 3 cards from my graveyard, so even if I started with the Fiendsmith stuff, yeah, they was going to get banished and then just shut me off from there. So there wasn't really a whole lot I could have done, you know, but I feel there was some slight improvement. So I'm happy with that. Yeah, because that's what this is about now. The casual to competitive isn't about just the results. Obviously, topping locals is nice, but first things first, in order to go from casually to competitively, I need to shift that mindset and start playing competitively. I need to take on board the little wins, the little increases that I do, the little bits that I think about and play differently in order to establish, and especially things like my interruptions when I've got them, knowing when to drop them and whatnot. So yeah, what I'm actually going to do is show you round 2, game 1, which was against Adam. So Adam and Matt have both been helping me out, as you guys may know, and yeah, so getting paired against Adam, the pressure was on to show him that I have at least listened to some of the things he's trying to teach me. Game 1, I feel I did amazingly. I was able to establish the board. So I'm going to show you game 1. I did end up losing this match though. I lost 2-1, and it was really, really unfortunate because I won the dice roll, I went first, I won game 1, I then lost game 2, and then game 3 I thought this is my opportunity. I set a board up like I did game 1, really think about things and we can go from there. And I drew my 5 cards for turn, and I drew Evil Hero Sinister Necron, Ash Blossom and the Joy Springs, Dark Fusion, Chimera Fusion, and Polymerization. So I look at the hand of 5 cards that do absolutely nothing together, and I set my Chimera Fusion and I pass turn. I don't want to Ash the first thing that Adam's doing. He's got 6 cards in hand, he's playing Sprite, they all spec, they all do searching, so I don't want to Ash the first thing, I want to make it impactful. But before I have chance, the Sprite Red comes out, which is a monster in the gate, making the Ash in my hand completely irrelevant. So yeah, he ended up taking that game 2-1. So at the end of round 2, we were X2. So we go for our break, and when we come back, we decided to, didn't decide anything, Konami paired us. We got paired with Isaac, which, as you know, is a good friend of mine. Also on Chimera, I have lent Isaac my Azamina engine because we have cut it, and yeah, so he's on Chimera Azamina, we're on Chimera Fiendsmith, and we took the game 2-0. It wasn't as straightforward as our normal games. Our normal games, to be perfectly honest, I do establish boards a bit easier, so Isaac is relying on his board breakers. This time around, however, game 1, he won the dice roll, he sets 2 super polys and passes, and I was like, okay, cool. I managed to establish a bit of a board, get super polyed, managed to establish a bit more of a board, get super polyed again, and it's like, okay. But in my hand, I also have super poly. So I wait for his turn, wait for him to start establishing his board, super poly it up, and then I was able to build my board and move forward a lot quicker than what he could. So we took game 1. Game 2, a similar story. We both, again, had super polys. So cards are just glued to our hands. There's no real misplays on either side. I feel like neither of us respected the super polys that much, and we both kind of paid for it. But I'm on a 44 card deck, he's on a 45, so chance of getting the super poly I thought was a bit slim. But maybe that's something I need to respect a bit more, especially when playing against the mirror match. But we did take that game 2-0, and we move into round 4 against Brendan. Brendan was supposed to be on a particular deck this week, but he left it at home. So he had to piece together what he had, and what he had was Eldritch branded floodgates. And off the front of it, you just think, wow, that's going to be absolutely crap. But it's actually a really fun deck, to be fair. It did look really fun, and it was certainly somewhat interactive to play against it, between the Eldritch specking itself and becoming 3500, trying to deal with the Mirrorjade board wipes, and then the floodgates, or like there can only be one, and goes and match, and yada yada yada, and zombie world. And it's, when you play an illusion deck, that requires you to have beasts and fiends and illusions, and then they're actually zombies instead. It did make it a bit more difficult, but we took that game 2-1. We won the dice roll, we went first, established the board, and just held Brendan off. Game 2, he established his board with Mirrorjade, Eldritch, the Illusion Rabbit, Silhouette Rabbit, that's it, and a couple of floodgates, Zombie World. So I was able to play through some, but not enough. And then game 3, we only had about 10 minutes left, so I sided in my time cards. I managed to spec out the Fiend of Reflection of Millennia to gain 1400 life points, which put me ahead on life. And then I did say in case I can't remember what it was now, but then Brendan flipped over the Solemn Judgment, because in his eyes he was losing anyway due to the time, so he may as well at least make it impactful. Paid half of his life points to negate something, and then of course time was called and I won in time. So, you know, some really good games. We ended on a neutral result of 2-2, which was a lot better than what I was expecting towards the end. Like I said, when I lost the first 2 games, I was expecting to kind of scrub out all day, but like I said, the other difference I found this week was I was in much better moods. Normally when I kind of lose the first 2 or 3, my mood tanks a little bit, you know, I get a bit tilted, but this week I was able to keep that under control, which I feel really helped me pull back that neutral record. And like I said, listening to Matt and Adam and going over what they've taught me really did help, and I do feel I put that into quite a few of my games. And again, if you haven't checked out Matt's channel, please do. He's a lot bigger than I am, does amazing deck profiles and combo tutorials, and of course he is playing Raziel, or Razzle, however it's pronounced, in the next format. So if you want to see combo videos, go check out his channel. Guarantee you they're going to be better than anything else you see on YouTube. But with that in mind, I'm going to show you the gameplay of me versus Matt, where I'm actually using my interactions correctly. Sorry, me versus Adam, where I'm using my interactions correctly. And then hopefully you'll learn something as well. And next week, I don't know if I will just do one full game, all 3 rounds, like I used to. If I will do half of my games, but like just one match a piece. Just try and keep that time limit down to around 30 to 40 minutes at a push, rather than 50 to an hour. Or let me know if you prefer seeing a singular match of each of the games, and you know, just having the longer video, because I know some people do prefer the longer videos. I prefer them. When I see Team Samurai or Jesse Cotton's local videos where they're over an hour long, I prefer those over the 15-20 minute ones. So let me know in the comment section down below what it is you'd prefer, and we'll try and make it happen. But either way, enjoy this footage, and I'll catch you guys next week. Peace. Okay, so here we are, and Adam starts off by dropping the jellyfish. Is a Fluflos or whatever it's pronounced. I can't pronounce his names properly. But it's the one that basically every time I summon from hand, he gets to draw a card. So I looked at my hand and I thought, oh, I bet I'm just not going to summon from my hand this turn. Which, with this deck, it, surprisingly enough, was actually quite easy to play around. Although it is quite sad, because I'm sitting here looking at that triple tactics, like, god damn, shame you didn't play that in the main phase. I would love to have activated that to get another draw too. But we go ahead, we drop the Dark Fusion, sending the Berthamut and the Mirror Sword Knight. This way the Berthamut can resurrect the Mirror Sword Knight, and the Big Wing Berthamut can Foolish. And because it was made with Dark Fusion, it can't be targeted. which means that no Imperm and no Effect Veiler is going to come down on this fusion monster. Best he can do is Ash the Foolish if he has the Ash. We shall see. He's having a think. I just explained the chain, and cool, everything resolves. So we go here, we Foolish the Evil Hero Sinister Necron to get our Fiendsmith engine going. There we go. And we spec back the Mirror Sword. So, as you've seen here, we've got the fusion, and we have the extender, and we have full Fiendsmith combo, of course, as long as our opponent has 0 other hand traps, and we have not normal summoned. We have not summoned from the hand at all, in order to give our opponent that +1 draw, because if I can do it enough, our opponent's basically gone -1 for no reason, because we have been able to keep this going. So here now we banish the Sinister Necron to spec the Evil Hero Adusted Gold. We then link off the Adusted Gold for Requiem, and then activate Requiem's effect, Tribute of Cost, in order to go ahead and special summon Lacrima. Now here Lacrima will activate, allowing us to Foolish Fiendsmith Engraver. So here we are, finally found it. We send Engraver to grave, and then we activate the Engraver effect, shuffling back the Adusted Gold to spec the Engraver. Now here we will go ahead and link 2. I'm just shuffling the deck up because normally I forget, and then all 3 cards kind of stay clumped together, which is a bit annoying. Yeah, here I was like, yeah, I've only summoned 4 times, and he looked at me and went, dude, you got Requiem Engrave, you have not summoned just 4 times. I was like, oh yeah, shit, I can't count. I summoned 6 times, but thankfully there was no nib. So yeah, so here's sequence. We activate the sequence effect, shuffling back the Fiendsmith Engraver, the Lacrima, and the Requiem, all back into the deck in order to go ahead and spec out Fiendsmith Desiree. Also, got to bear in mind, looking at that Mirror Sword Knight, still just sitting there, can activate at any point, but obviously if we spec the Birthmark off the effect, we are then fusion locked. So if we want to be fusion locked, that's fine, or we can go ahead and spec the Gazelle. I can't remember which one I do, so let's have a look here. Hopefully it's Gazelle, because that will give us the further extenders. Yes, Birthmark gives us both Chimera Fusion and the level 4 beast. However, here we have sequence on the field, so we already have the Fiend. Yep, so there's the Gazelle. Excellent. So Gazelle effect here will add us Chimera Fusion or a level 5 beast. Level 5 Fiend, and we grab the Chimera Fusion. So here now we should Chimera Fuse off the sequence and the Gazelle. There we go, into the standard Chimera to get a hand rip, putting our opponent down to 3 cards instead of 5. So as far as card advantage goes, you think I've got, what, 2 cards left in hand currently, I believe. Chimera Fusion can add itself back, sequence can equip itself, so, and we go ahead and we add the Diabells here. So we add this back, so, and then we equip the sequence just so I don't forget. And then I believe I fuse off. Yep, so here's the poly, fusing off the Diabells and the Chimera into Magnum the Reliever. Now, the reason why I've done this is so then, ideally in my opponent's standby phase, is I can banish the Gazelle to spec out the Diabells, because I know sprites are a little fiddly with things like Double Cross and Sprite Starter and whatnot, so I want to be able to try and slow that down. We activate Magnum, put a fusion spell polymerization on the bottom of the deck to draw a card. We set a card here, which I do believe is the Chimera Fusion, and we move to the end phase to get the hand rip. So we go 1 to 4, 5, 6 reroll. We hit 3, which does end up being a Nimble Beaver, which is an okay rip. Not the best, but not the worst. So as you can see, our opponent has 4 cards now, where they should be starting their turn with 6. So I'll go ahead here, activate the Chimera to target the Diabells to spec it back. Adam changed Sprite Starter because he knew it's either now or never. Technically I can Desiree negate this, but I'm sitting here thinking, if I let that go through, you know, he's more than likely going to get blue, which he does. We then shut down the spells and traps anyway, so then if he goes into Gigantic Sprite or Sprite Sprint, I can negate those effects. So yeah, kind of not too worried about Blue's activation effect. But here we do Mirror Sword the Blue just to stop the search, just because I'm trying to keep that card advantage. Because I'm not sure if Adam's going to get to another turn or not, but I want to make sure I'm trying to choke out his hand as much as possible. So here you can see he just specs Sprite Jet, or normal summons the Jet. I can't remember if that's the normal summon or not, but he gets the double cross here. So yeah, so this is one that sucks up obviously to an Xyz or to a zone a Link is pointing to, but as soon as it sets, my Diabells will activate to pop. He decides to overlay here, having to think about Gigantic Sprite. He does decide to go for Gigantic Sprite, and he activates the effect where I chain Magnum. So Magnum is, I can banish, when another effect is activated on the field, I can banish Polymerization or Fusion spell to pop a card on the field. And because Gigantic Sprite needs to remain on the field to resolve, that is the game. So Adam scoops it up and we move to game 2.